Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Third Banner Pod. I am Kyle, also known by some as the Third Banner, and I am joined by Connor. I'm joined by Josh, and as always, Ross. How are you guys doing today?
Feeling
We haven't
good.
gotten any commitments in a few days.
I know. What are we doing, Jeff Brohm? We haven't gotten a commitment
Man,
since.
I need these commitments, man. I need
know
them.
it.
I need them.
KP
I
got
need
to
them.
commit. I don't want to hear it. KP got to commit, boys.
Oh God.
Yeah,
We're not
Kenny Payne.
starting there.
No, we're not going to start off with the basketball commit. We will get to that, but we like to start on a note where most fans are in agreement, and that seems to be a very divisive topic. So, all that being said, yeah, we're a little bit. We've gotten a little bit used. We gotten hooked on on Jeff Brohm commitments, and we were getting one a day, sometimes two or three a day. So. To not have any football commitments for the past 3 days or so, yeah, it doesn't feel right. But we got a big one, Marcus Washington out of Georgia. That's the last one we got.
On Monday.
Another defensive back, another stud, and boys, we are rolling, especially in the secondary. A spot that I would say before the portal opened the first time was considered probably the second or third weakest area on the team, and now it's obviously a strength. I don't think anybody can. I don't know. Maybe somebody could debate otherwise, but I'm certainly not under the impression that we are stacked anywhere else nearly as much as we are in the secondary right now. What do you guys think?
We might have a top 10 DB depth in the country.
For real.
Depth wise, not talent wise, just depth wise.
And we're not number 10.
Shit, talent wise, it's pretty good too. You're looking from what they brought in since Brom's been here. They've brought in 4 previous 4-star players, that are back there now. That's big time. Storm, MF and Duck, and you got MGK, and you got Marcus Washington, and you got who's the other one? Cameron Kelly. So
Tron, thanks for joining us. We're just getting rolling here.
What's up, Tron?
So I did, our roster is almost filled out completely. I think the 2 biggest spots we have left are tight end and kicker. I'm not saying that we couldn't use maybe another lineman or another defensive tackle or another linebacker.
QB.
But I assume, and it may be another backup QB. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
I'd love for Brady to come on from Purdue since he's still in the portal. I haven't heard a word about that. I don't know about you guys. Nothing. So
moving in silence.
Moving in silence, like
he's gonna join our basketball team, Ross.
But so long story short, with we've got 2 positions we know we need filled, and then maybe 3 or 4 other guys we just take the best of, is my guess. But I don't think it's premature to say. I think this team, as it's constructed, if we keep all of our guys in the fold in fall, and then we open up our first game with this roster as it is and minimal injuries, especially at key positions, I think we can compete this year for an ACC championship. I look at the schedule, not saying we will. I'm not guaranteeing we will be an ACC championship or that we will win an ACC championship this year. But I think it's very possible, and I don't think it should be dismissed. I'm looking at preseason polls. One that was released today didn't even have us in the top 25, and I commented on it on Twitter, and I put, it's okay that you forgot to put Louisville at number 20. We'll forgive you, because I absolutely think this is a top 25 team, and maybe I'm just head in the clouds delusional, and you guys can let me know. You guys can bring me back down to earth here, but I think not only are we a top 25 team, but I do think we can compete. And we don't even play Clemson this year, do we?
No Clemson.
And not that we
no Clemson, no Florida State.
No Clemson, no Florida State. And we get Miami, and they have the talent to be good. And it's not even run away from teams like that. Of course, we get Notre Dame, and we know they're going to be good. NC State could be good. They're usually solid at the worst, and sometimes they're very good. So, but I'm not afraid of really anybody on the route. I'm not saying we can beat every single team that we're going to, but I'm not afraid of anybody on the schedule with what we have coming back and what I think Jeff Brohm's going to do, and the defense being a big question mark I had. I think he's very much addressed that talent wise. And now it's just about the scheme lining up, which I'm hopeful that it will. I don't know what you guys think about where we're at and what your all's expectations are.
Well,
Go ahead. Go ahead, Roth.
I was just going to say, I mean, obviously, Jeff Brohm and his offense are going to put up points. Like that's almost a given, And as long as we can keep Plummer upright, I think we're going to have a really good chance to put up, really light up the scoreboard this year. Barclay just keeps talking very highly of the running back room he's got. He really loves his guys in there. And we, no question that we're talented at wide receiver. Some little murmurs that we're trying to get Milton Wright possibly eligible, academically eligible, and get him enrolled in U of L. We'll have to see what happens with that. That's going to be obviously something that's going to be ongoing. But I don't think any of us are under the impression that it's not it's not easier to get into U of L than it is Purdue. It's kind of apples and oranges there a little bit. But I think the biggest thing to take away from spring was that we had question marks about defense, like you were saying, Kyle. And the defense I thought they performed very well in the spring game. So I think that's highly encouraging. I really like the 4-2-5. I think we ran a good amount of that last year, a little bit, kind of like a hybrid anyways. But, I think that the players all seem to really like it. They've spoken very highly of English and some of the new defensive guys. So, and Mark Ivey just keeps raving about his linebacker room too. He's very happy, although, I'm sure he's even more happy to get Keith Brown.
Keith Brown.
I keep wanting to see Johnson. My brain, man. I just got done cutting grass, so y'all gotta forgive me. So, anyways, I'm highly motivated, like you, Kyle. I don't see a scenario where we don't go out and win a lot of games this year. It just looks primed to do it.
Well, now if Jack Plummer gets injured, I could see that really dramatically changing things. But assuming he can stay healthy and assuming we don't have like a Baltimore Ravens type of just mass injuries, I think we will. I think we'll do very well. And I think, I hate to put a ceiling and a floor in his first year, so I'm going to try to, at least on this episode tonight, not do that. But I do think we very well could compete for an ACC championship. It would not surprise me to see us playing in the ACC championship game. And it also wouldn't surprise me if we won 7 or 8 games, just depending on how quickly people adjust to all the changes with the new scheme and new coaching staff, new additions and subtractions. The team does look a lot different. But I'm looking at the positions. I'm looking at I think quarterback is an upgrade. And I think a lot of people nationally, like when we're not on the top 25 of these preseason polls yet, I think a lot of them are looking at Jack Plummer. And it's no disrespect to Malik Cunningham. I do think he was overhyped in a way. I think his stats sometimes lended people to believe he was doing a lot more than he was. And that sounds bad to say. I don't mean Malik Cunningham was a bad quarterback. I do think he was a little bit overrated nationally. Compared to what we knew. I think he was very limited. And Jack Plummer, I feel like, is the opposite. I feel like he is underrated a little bit. And I remember when he committed, and a lot of people were like, who is this guy? But I remember Jack Plummer from his Purdue days, and I was excited. We already kind of had a suspicion it was going to be Jack Plummer, thanks to some detective work, but that we talked about last episode. But
yeah,
I think that we're being underrated because of that. I think our running back room is underrated because Jawar Jordan, he took him a little while to get going, but towards the end of the year, he was just rolling. I think Turner's developed into a stud. I think our offensive line had some question marks, and while it still does, we've certainly brought in a haul. We have brought in a haul, and it's no longer to me a weakness. Now, is it a strength of the team? That remains to be determined. But I definitely don't. I think it's at the very least it's sustainable. And then you look at what we're doing on defense with the additions, and the only question I have on defense is the scheme. Is it going to be aggressive enough? And it sounds like they are going to try to be more aggressive. So we'll see. And real quick before I turn it over to you guys, Ty Louisville Rivals, he's on with us, doing well.
What's
Ty,
up, Ty?
How's it going, Ty?
hope you're doing well, man.
Hey, since we talked last, we got Eric Miller too.
Yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, we talked about that on the last pod for sure, that he was one of the guys that we were all really wanting. So
And he's a day one starter. That's not even a question. As long as he's healthy,
Yeah.
he's going to be out there. So
I-
anyway,
I was going to say, I'm curious, speaking, since you brought up Miller, Connor, I'd be curious. I know he's got a lot of snaps at left tackle at Purdue. And I would say, if you were betting, that's probably where they're going to slot him in here. But I will say that Willie Tyler is a wild card. Going back and watching some of his tape, I'm trying to figure out how this dude's on like his fourth or fifth school. Honestly, I just don't know what he did or didn't do. It's something to be aware of, but he looks strong on tape, man. He looks really strong.
And to get into Rutgers, it's not a great issue to get into Rutgers.
Right.
Yeah, so it's just I would not be surprised if Tyler is at left tackle and you move Miller over to right, but that's just me. We'll see. I'll let them take care of that. I don't think that's really an issue. I love how they've upgraded the offensive line big time. So
Renato's definitely moving to guard.
Yeah.
Heard it here first.
yeah,
Josh, what do you think, man?
Yeah.
What do
I
you
was
think
gonna
about
say,
the
I think-
overall expectations for this year, going into this year?
I would
I'm
say,
thinking ACC contender.
Yeah, well, I think our discussion on the Discord is usually like 7.5 wins is the over/under, right? Like I think that was our expectation coming into this season. But with all these additions and the defense, like I think Ross, you touched on this, but like our defense looks substantially better than I think what we expected. Now, granted, that's the spring game. Take it with a grain of salt. Even Brohm said himself that the defense is ahead of the offense. But still, I mean, they look fast. They're quick to the ball. So the fact that the defense looks so good, and then, any question marks we might have had, I think, Kyle, you mentioned quite a bit when we were watching the game. The offensive line, you're like, man, if they can just keep him upright, I think, and then what does Brohm do? He goes and addresses the offensive line in like ridiculous fashion. So it's like
insane.
We got what, like 5 or 6?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So
And
I
that's
don't know.
why
I think you might have to push that over under up. I mean, at least for me, my expectation now is like I want to win 9 games plus. And I know that's a little bit of hyperbole coming from that spring game, at 7.5, but I really feel like
That's
we can
lofty.
win 9 games,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to be bummed if we win 7 games. It's not going to be time to get pitchforks. So let's make that clear. But you just feel like he gets it enough already. You feel like he gets it, and like I said at the end of last week's pod, the man recruits like his job is on the line every week, and like he has to meet with Josh Hurd at the end of every week to see if he even has a job. That's the way that man recruits, and that's the way I'd like for us to recruit in all sports. But that being said, sticking to football. Sticking to football, that's the reason why my expectations have risen somewhat. And with the tight end, that's the tight end and kicker are the last 2 main positions. Now, kicker, you might be able to find a good walk on. So, and you can find that anytime. Tight end, I'm really curious because the way Brohm recruits, he's got a couple dudes he's really going after behind the scenes. I haven't seen anything super concrete. I know the kid out of Colorado, we were rumored to be, reaching out to him, but I haven't seen any substantial, like, concrete evidence of that through like recruiting articles or anything, but maybe I missed them. And then
maybe Mike Hughes dropped one.
And I know Varkey Gums decommitted from Arkansas. I'm hearing Colorado rumors, but that just could be because they have 89 scholarships open. So everybody just assumes that anybody that decommits is going there. But I would love for us.
You mean like last summer when
I'd love
everybody
for us to jump in on some
Varkey's
Varkey's Gums which these guys' names, it's like none of these guys have normal names. So I get all caught up on
I don't know
that.
how you keep all of them straight. I'm like, dude, you're better than me.
I keep most of them straight. The worst one was AJ Vongfashan, who I wasted
The
my
linebacker,
time learning
yeah.
how to say that name because he didn't even end up visiting. So thanks a lot, Vong, not saying your name anymore because you didn't commit here.
Vamos.
Chester says Sunbelt won 8 last, which Sunbelt Scott.
Sunbelt did not coach the bowl, so that's wrong.
He did not. He did not. Come on, man. You gave him 8 wins. With the schedule, I believe 9 wins is very attainable. I agree with your overall point. I'm not going to give Sunbelt that 8th win, especially when he was a goober and sitting there getting interviewed during the game, acting like he wasn't rooting for Cincinnati. He just, gee Willikers, I'm just here for I'm rooting for both schools to win. Like, okay, first off, that can't happen, dumbass. So, just be honest, man. Speak with your freaking chest for the first time in your life.
I hope no one threw L's down during that game.
Yeah. I'm not giving you that. I'm not giving you that 8th win. And most of your staff was gone anyway.
No, he barely won 7.
But anyway, I'm really curious about the tight end. I think that's I will be honest though, there's a position on offense where you're like, hey, you're going to be thin in one position. I'd probably pick tight end because it's a very important position, but we have receivers who can pick up some of that slack in the passing game. You definitely want your running back room and your quarterback room to be strong, and your offensive line, obviously, it's make or break on the front line. So if there's a position where we have to be a little thin, I think I'd pick tight end, to be honest. But I'm hopeful that we get one of these couple of names out there in the portal right now, and we'll see.
And I don't have any doubt that they will. The tight end position, as we know, is very important in Brohm's offense. He's always utilized the tight end very well. Whether he's very good at their tight end that was at Purdue this past year. He just got drafted 3rd round, 4th round. He gets dudes drafted. They have plenty of tape to show that you're going to be capable blocker. You're going to be a capable receiver downfield. It's an important position in his offensive scheme. So I don't have any doubt that they're going to be able to still get a player or two there. I think we all know that they've kind of addressed that too, that they still need to hit that. So I think there were just other positions that were of more importance. And we've seen them address those. And, I think that we'll probably get something here. The portal's closed Sunday. But there's still a ton of kids out there in the portal that are prime for the picking. So we will see.
Yeah. Ty says Midnight Rambler seemed to think Colorado tight end is coming. Dropped a bomb on my board. Yeah, I saw that. And
I just don't know how he's going to be immediately eligible. I just don't.
Connor, we don't need compliance.
Get out.
Get out. We don't need compliance, man. I don't want to hear about it.
We're trying to get
we get players eligible, okay?
Right. Come on down, buddy.
Brohm's biggest failure is that he didn't get Marshawn Ford at 12 seasons.
It's like going 5 over on a 55-mile-per-hour speed limit, getting pulled over. That's Connor. Like, hey, you can't transfer twice. Of course, come on, man. Like everybody's just transferring. I know you're just going by the book. I'm just messing with
Connor, the Anchorage cop over here. You were doing 27 and a 25.
Yeah.
To his credit, he is right. I mean, Traore, he transferred to Colorado, and then all of a sudden he's going to retransfer? He's not a grad transfer. So it's not.
I just don't.
It's not one of those things that's very cut and dry. But
I get it. I don't know why.
So we're talking about Seydou Traore. Or is it Seydou? See, that's what I mean, guys. There's not a single guy that we go after that has a normal. Where's Mike Smith? Let's recruit.
Hey, we got Keith Brown.
We got Storm Duck.
Fair enough. We got Keith Brown.
We got Storm Duck.
Yeah, that's not a normal name, but a very easily pronounced name. But Seydou Traore, Colorado tight end. I believe he was at Arkansas State before that. Very athletic. He's almost like a big receiver. And so I think he would be very good to add, and Midnight Rambler, for what it's worth, he's been a message board poster for a year. I mean, for probably better part of a decade, and he knows his stuff. So he's not just some random dude pretending to or trolling people, throwing stuff out there. So if he's hearing it, there's at least some credibility. He seemed to think. I remember the comment he made was something along the lines of, "Look, unless somebody drops a mega bag at the last second, I feel like we're going to land this guy." I have not seen anybody else really touch it, so I'm not sure where that stands as of today, but that is the last a lot of us have heard. Ty also says, shout out to everyone involved for like staff, NIL, for keeping the defections to a minimum. Turner was only the really one, and that's true. That's true. You know, we all give him Jeff Brohm credit. He is the portal king. And we typically attribute that to him bringing a bunch of guys in, but equally important to keep all of the studs in that we already have, keeping them with the program, because they were being reached out to left and right, and people were just begging them, crawling over broken glass to get them to come, transfer to their program. And we've got some talent on the roster, and I was worried we wouldn't hold serve, but we really did. I mean, props to Brohm. Between him keeping all those Bosco boys when they were really on shaky ground there for a little bit, and then keeping most of these transfers, the only one besides the special teams guys, I would have loved to keep the punter and the kicker, but the only major one I saw leave it just tore me up was Dorian. I wanted him to. I think his trajectory as a linebacker, I think he would be a beast this year. Now he's
and he would have been a great fit in this scheme too. He would have been I think he would have started easily.
And I just can't believe he's willing to go play for a coach that his favorite restaurant's Cracker Barrel, but it's not a pod without me throwing some shade at Sunbelt or Skyline Scott for
Skyline Scott. I hate that we are disparaging Skyline. Okay, me being from Cincinnati, I'm just gonna say I love Skyline, and I know some people don't.
You hired him.
It really sucks that his name's now attached to that, because Skyline is awesome. I'm just gonna say that.
Thanks, John Cunningham, for the $3.5 million.
Tron says, Connor, you are only good for getting tickets to Wayne concert. Well, that's a good reason to be good, even if it's the only one. Neil says Muss might drop a bag and get Traore just because he can. Now listen here, that's funny, but hey, that would be Portal King versus Portal King. Muss versus Brohm. That would be like the ultimate portal face-off.
Well, I'm gonna take Brohm in that, just because he will stomp that little man right into the ground. I will just say this: you're not touching Brohm, okay? So Muss, you are not the Portal King. You're out of here, bud.
I'm picturing Brahm's face if Muss just like took his shirt off and started dancing around him like a little elf. All right, let's see. Neil, Skyline is the Canes of Well, we don't have Ty on here. We don't have Ty Elliott on here tonight, so we're not going to get any blowback, any Canes slanders allowed tonight. He's the big Canes fanatic. Ty Spalding says the crazy thing about Dorian is that he left to follow Nicholson, and then Nick dipped him. I know. Right. That's what makes it awful. That's what makes it even worse. It's like not only did he leave and for that goofy guy, but the main guy that he left for is not even there. It's very depressing, because that's the guy. That's when I started to get a little nervous. I was at the very beginning, because he was one of the very first ones, and it wasn't long after Brohm took the job, and he was like, "I'm entering a portal." And I thought, "Oh shit, we're gonna lose all of our good guys."
And then Ben Perry entered, and then he said, "Just kidding, I'm staying."
Yeah, and that was right after Ruben Owens decommitted. I mean, at the very beginning, and then he started hearing all the Bosco rumors, and it was just like, oh my god! Like, and he knew that was going.
Bloody Sunday.
He knew there was going to be some attrition and subtraction, and you knew you were going to lose some dudes. But ultimately, at the end of the day, when the dust settled, we did not lose very much. And that's impressive.
Man,
Very impressive.
not to get off topic, but I did hate losing Dorian Jones. You know, I'm a defensive first guy, but man, I swear, losing Bassett hurt.
Yeah.
I hated losing Bassett. That other guy was my guy, man. I was like, this dude's he's the best punter we've had in I don't know how long.
Since
Dude,
Mason
I know
King.
he had a huge leg, bro. He had a huge leg. And I was just like, no. I was like, what are you doing following these bums up to Cincinnati? Come on now.
He didn't go to Cincinnati, he went to Colorado.
Oh, that's right. That's right. He went to Prime. That's
wanted
right.
to get some
You're
extra hang time.
He's the only one left there.
So he's kicking 70-yard punts every
He's also throwing the ball. He's tackling. He's snapping the ball himself. I mean, they don't have anybody else there.
He's feeling high quality 820.
Yeah.
He's feeling high quality 820.
He's also sitting on the bench pretending to be like a second string player. I mean, he has to do everything. He has to like.
Poor guy. He's gonna be so tired.
He is.
You know, the oxygen's thin up there, man.
He's gonna play. He's gonna play offense, defense, and specials.
Hey, I ran my best marathon in Washington State in high altitude. I was told it would be terrible. So the hottest point of the day was super humid. I just go out there and run, preparing for that. It's really not that bad, but anyway, it does suck to lose him to Colorado. It sucks terribly. But again, if you have to lose a punter and a kicker as opposed to your quarterback, your starting running back, your
running back, yeah, I don't think we can understate. I don't think we can understate enough. Like them holding on to Turner is going to be huge this year. I think that kid is going to next year.
Like going on past that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The
Turner
future
have like 2 or 3 years.
I think he's got 3.
Yeah, I think he's.
I mean, I think he's primed to have. That's the second time I've used that word, and we keep talking about Colorado. It's kind of pissing me off. So sorry. He's in good position to have a big season this year. Barclay can't talk enough about him. Him or Jawar. I mean, he loves them. I think the running back room is going to be just gangbusters this year.
Yeah, Ty said, funny thing is, since he had been in Jaws' ears since they left, and Jaws said, no, I'm good. Well, that's because Jaws isn't a dumbass.
Yeah.
He didn't like Skyline Chili.
Nah,
and Jaws would have to sit out too because he's already transferred once.
Here comes Kyle. Here comes Connor.
Okay, let's see what else people are saying. Chester, I wouldn't leave after Jaws ran for 90 yards in the first half versus UK. Then Sat went away. Dude, you're going to make me mad, Chester, because I swear, that is when I knew. I was like, this coach will never beat UK. We had them beat. We had them beat. All you had to do is keep giving them the damn ball. That's all you had to do. It wasn't hard. And then we put the game in Malik's hands, who never played well against UK.
And Malik was hurt.
Sweaty palms. Mom's spaghetti all over his uniform every single time he played those motherfuckers. And then come on. I was just so I get really irritated with that game. I get so mad. We had it. That's all you had to do. If you give him the ball and just keep giving him the ball, like 75% of the time, we win that game. And we might win by 2 or 3 scores. I'm not kidding. That's my rant. That's my rant.
Yeah.
And Malik was hurt. So why wouldn't you just hand the ball off? We went for it on 4th and 15 and told Brock Dobin to figure it out.
Dude,
I have a hard time with
I can't even talk
Malik.
about it anymore.
It seemed like Malik was hurt every time we would start to go down. Right. I don't know why I felt that way. Maybe it's just because he had to do it all. But anytime it started to look like we were slipping, all of a sudden he'd be limping and he'd be like, oh.
He was like, he was like the Paul Pierce. Like he always did the Paul Pierce thing. Like, I'm hurt. Did you see? I don't want to get too off topic for too long, but did you see Paul Pierce now says he did not take a crap? Like he told everybody 3 years ago Well, I had to take a shit. And he said, I had to take a shit. Well, I guess he realized like he was going to get made fun of for that. Like, I guess he thought that when he admitted that people wouldn't like laugh about it. I don't know, because now he's like, nah, man, I was never taking a shit. I don't remember what he said his injury was. I think he said he sprained his ACL. He's like, I sprained my ACL. Like, dude, you just told us like 3 years ago. Like, you told us nationally. So anyway, that is what Malik always reminded me of, pulling a Paul Pierce. I'm not saying he was never hurt.
Right.
It was like every single game. You were waiting for when the Malik injury was going to happen.
And then he would limp off. He'd limp
Paul
off.
Pierce pulled his rectum.
Doc says he's late. What's up, boys? Doc, that's all right, man. That's all right. Welcome.
We appreciate you being here, buddy.
Welcome to the pod.
We haven't gotten to basketball yet. So
Neil says Brohm is built for this rivalry. We are about to dominate them. Absolutely.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I have no doubt that Brohm understands this rivalry. He's played in it. He's been an assistant coach for it. He was here under Bobby Petrino the first time around when Bobby took no prisoners in this rivalry. And he will not. If Jaws is going off and just having a field day and they cannot stop him, he will not all of a sudden start throwing bombs with Malik Cunningham, sweaty palms and mom spaghetti all over the front of his uniform.
So
he's not going to do it.
I had somebody send me this week.
Yeah.
Huh.
Hey.
It's gonna be so glorious, dude. Like,
fault. He got the rivalry.
Dude, I mean, I'm telling you, Brohm is not going to play the nice guy in the pressers leading up to that game. Now, I don't think he's going to go full heel or anything like that, but he's going to make it known we are the destination. We are the football school, because he knows that all this crap that UK has been able to do in this tenure, this short span, it's fake juice, man. It's fake. I'm sorry. Their fans don't even believe it. They think they do, but they're going to find out real quick. The things are about to flip back to where it just is supposed to be. I'm sorry. You all don't care about football. You don't. You're a basketball school. It was a tie over to get you through to basketball. It's the way it's always been. It's the way it's always going to be. Y'all don't really care about football. You don't. They do not care. So, and we're about to take it. Brohm is going to take Stoops cookies. All right, or his Kroger sugar cookies. He's gonna take them and their ice cream. He's gonna run with it. It's ours now.
So Stoops' recruiting pitch was, I have the safest job in America. All I have to do is win 6 games. And I get an automatic extension. That was his recruiting.
And beat Louisville.
That was his recruiting pitch to kids.
Well, yeah, I'm sure it was.
Because they get 4
he's going to take their cookies.
Because they get at
and
least
their ice cream
wins every year. Because they play, no hate to Ball State, sorry. They play Ball State, Eastern.
Hey, don't be hating on my alma mater now. Come on. Chirp, chirp.
Ball State, Eastern, and, like Eastern Michigan. Like,
those were good games to get really drunk at, because they weren't good games. They weren't entertaining, but,
Ball jars wish they could be mason jars. Okay?
Yeah. Hey. No Ball State. Hey, come on now. No.
For anybody that doesn't know that history, the guy that is the ball jars, if you ever get some hooch or anything and it says ball on it, all right, that guy is the ball. He bought, what was it? Used to be what, like Muncie State or something? Then he changed it to Ball State, right?
No,
isn't that the story?
It's always been Ball State. The ball.
Are you sure?
I'm positive, like COVID.
Okay.
I'm positive, man. Yeah, the Ball brothers. It's a long. Anyway, y'all come on here to hear about Ball State's history. So we're gonna continue here. We're gonna truck right along. So Ty says Ross is completely right. Barclay loves Jaws and Turner, and that relationship is rock solid. I mean, we had no doubt when Barclay came in. We were dying for Satterfield to get Barclay when it was supposedly rumored that, which when I say rumored, let me tell you, we could have had him earlier, but we didn't do our due diligence. But we got him now. So
and that's to speak on Ty's point, I had heard rumblings that Turner could be a guy. I think him and Perry were the two guys that were being rumored to, if we could hold on to them, by the time the portal closes, that we'd be in good shape. And we did. But I was less worried about Turner than I would Perry, just because Perry had already flirted, he had already entered the portal and then, took his name out. Turner, I know that Barclay has such a good relationship with those guys. I mean, he just loves them. I mean, loves them to death. Loves his running back room.
Sounds like the last step. They just love him up.
Yeah, but this is real this time. It ain't just talking.
Anthony says, no offense to all the guys on the pod, love it, but Ross has been around 1,800 years on the radio. So, all right.
Ross calls in. He used to call into Maven all the time.
Ross, they want you to do your Lawrence impersonation, which everybody knows who Lawrence is. He calls into all the.
I love Lawrence, man. People think when I do Lawrence impression that I'm making fun of him. I'm not. I just like impersonating people's voices. Like, to me, it's flattery. Man. Yeah, like, it's like, what's up, guys?
Come on, man. You already started.
What's up, Steve? What's up, Marcus? Man, I gotta talk about lemon pepper seasoning. So no, I love Lawrence, man. Lawrence is like one of our dudes, just like Uncle Larry, man. Uncle Larry's one of us. Like, it's one of our guys, man. Like, I love Lawrence. Love Lawrence.
You got a Kenny Payne impression?
Do I have a Kenny Payne impression? It's like,
I don't understand the question, Connor.
That's a great one.
I don't really understand the question.
That sounds like you're trying to seduce a woman.
Not sure that's it. Not sure.
Yeah, that's like a.
Give me a minute. I'll work on it.
I got the
come back to me in 5.
It's like a sex hotline type of voice. Like, are you looking for a good time? Now they want you to do Lamar Jackson.
No, we're not doing that. Yeah, come on. This is not Rocky impression. This is getting off. It's getting out of hand, guys. Come on.
Out of hand. All right. So we talked a bit about football. Now, as far as, has anybody heard anything about Brady Allen, Purdue quarterback to enter the portal? We had heard like, hey, keep an eye on this guy. Obviously, Brohm brought him to Purdue, so naturally, I would love to have him as a. I just feel so much better if we had him on the roster in case something happens with Jack Plummer. I would love to know that, hey, we've got a guy who has the talent at least to pick up right where Jack Plummer left off. Kind of like how Jack Plummer and McConnell, played off of each other when Brohm first got there, and they were both there.
And Allen knows the playbook. Like, he knows the offense.
So
he knows. I haven't heard anything. I would still just me being me. Like, I think he's a dude clearly that's gonna have some attention put on him. But I would be surprised if he doesn't end up coming. That's just me.
Yeah.
And I've said for the past 2 shows, Brohm's not gonna hand a job to anybody, nor should he. And I think he knows what he's gonna get in Brady Allen. He recruited him.
Sure.
It just seems like such a good fit. So, I hope he ends up here. I'd just be surprised if he didn't. That's just me.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Hold on. Tron said Chris Hummer, he's a 247 national guy, mentioned Brady Allen on Ennis' show today. Mark Ennis' show, The Drive, on 93.9. He said he expects Brohm to take a quarterback, and there's no coincidence that Allen is in the portal. Well, good.
Yeah.
So I mean, Chris Hummer's a guy who, he's not just some random dude. He's a national guy.
He's like if Rivals Woody put something in
Right.
on Rivals.
Right. Yep. Yeah, that's a good
or Branham for basketball.
Or Adam Gorney.
Finkelstein.
Sorry. I actually never had a problem with Adam Gorney over on Rivals, but he does a thing called Flip Watch, and he had half of a roster on there, and he just every single time he'd share like a national article, it'd be like, eat a D, Gorney, and F you, Gorney. There's every single response from Louisville fans. That's why I brought him up.
Wasn't that who started Bloody Sunday?
Well, I'm not gonna get into. I'm not gonna say who started that. I don't want to do that. And we've got and Ty's on here, and we like having Ty on here.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't matter. All that's obviously didn't come to fruition. Thank goodness. So let's see. We have to take a quarterback since we lost one. That's what Anthony says. I tend to agree. I mean, technically, you could probably say that we have two serviceable backups, but I don't know. I don't really. In order to achieve what I'm hoping we achieve this year, I'd love to have a backup quarterback with a Brady Allen type of talent. So, that's just me.
Go up one question to KP's Wiener, because I think that's a good. Go up to KP's Wiener.
Which one? He's got a bunch of them on here.
The tight end. I think that's
but a bunch of comments.
He said, who do we think starts at tight end? I mean, as it stands right now, it's Anthony Sherman. So
Jamari Johnson.
So KP's Wiener is asking about tight ends.
All
right. Let's make sure we're on the same page here.
As it stands right now, it's Anthony Sherman. I think he's the most. He's not. I won't say he's the most capable, because that's clearly Jamari. Jamari's got such potential. I mean, the kid is fantastic.
Somebody say it. Somebody say it.
What?
Connor, say it.
That's not where I thought that was going either.
Oh, then Sherman's not even on the roster, is he?
No, it's Francis Sherman that you're thinking of. And
Francis Sherman.
Yeah, that's what I'm laughing. I'm like, he's not even on the.
Wait a minute, Sherman went in the portal.
Yes,
I put it in the cord, man.
All right, take back what I said. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's going to be the last.
It is hard to keep up with. We got so many people that exit the portal, and Sherman's one that came up like late. Like he's one that you have 48 hours, as Connor's alluded to enter them into the portal, and he was one that for whatever reason
Sherman's a grad, so he could have gone in whenever he wants.
Oh, okay. Well, there's that.
I feel so stupid now. I'm sorry, guys.
No, you're good.
I thought we were laughing about him talking about Jamari because.
Well, let's see. KP's Wiener, as he's named himself, is Louisville's top 10 in transfer portal rankings according to On3, as we should be. I've seen a couple.
Yeah.
I think 247. As soon as the guys transferred to North Carolina, Virginia, they were 4 stars, but then they left their spring camps and came here, and they both were 3 stars, even though nothing's happened. Nothing's changed except they packed their bags, and that alone apparently demoted them. So it's good to see that I think we have a top 10 transfer class for sure.
Wasn't MGK like a 4-star, and then he got demoted to a 3-star when he came here?
Yeah, it's stupid.
Probably on own 3.
Tron says Connor has the proper size.
Oh my gosh!
Starting tight end.
Take that off.
All right.
I don't know if CV's got the footwork though to be a good fit. And Brohm
definitely does though.
Oh man, the kid's gonna be so good. He's gonna be so good. So.
So let's see. JJ, he said Neil says JJ's got 2 ham hocks.
Dude,
he's
as Neil, all right. I'm gonna date myself, but as the ladies' man, anybody knows that knows that reference. The ladies' man is like, look like somebody stuck 2 fine hands down the back of your dress. It's like, dude's got it, man. I mean, he's got that cake, man.
Jamari,
I'm sorry.
he's got caboose for sure.
Dude, he is going. I'm telling you, I said it last pod. You are going to see, you were going to see a clip or two this year of him driving somebody out of bounds. It's going to happen. It is going to happen. Kid is going to physically impose people. He's going to be so good. He's going to be a fan favorite.
He's going to run some people over.
They want us to predict the conference record this year in football. I'm going to say 1 loss. I'm going out on it. I'm not counting a conference championship if we were to make that. I'm counting just a regular season. 1 loss in conference.
There's going to be a game that's going to end up being a clunker. We all know that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I would go
right. 2 losses.
I'll go 2 in conference. But we're going to be right there. We're going to be right there, man.
Right on.
So
KP's
if I had to
we
guess,
beat UK this year. Yes, I think we beat UK. I really do.
I do too.
Yes, I would say NC State on the road, maybe. Just depending on how we are after the first 3. And then maybe 1 late in the year.
Just don't lose at Georgia Tech.
Yes,
first game. That just gives me Satterfield flashbacks. Now, I predicted we were going to lose to Syracuse last year, and I thought Discord was going to run me off my own server because it was just sounding like blasphemy. But I try to explain. Sat always craps the bed in the first game. I mean, I think he won 1 first game against like Western Kentucky, but it wasn't a good win then either. And so that would suck.
I was at that game. Was that
the one in Nashville?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was at that game too.
Yeah. It was windy as shit.
And it was hot.
Hey,
I wasn't like so hot. My face was chapped off, though. I know that.
Do y'all have your IU tickets yet? I already got mine.
Don't have them yet, but definitely getting them. Me and the boys are definitely getting them. We're going. Gonna put a big trip together. It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be so much fun.
Getting section 144.
I got my football tickets. I got my football tickets, though. They're good there. We're good there.
What section are you in for home games?
Yeah, Doc, IU tickets are expensive. You're right. I couldn't believe it.
Section in the flight deck, section 7, sitting directly on the 50-yard line. We're about 11 rows up, so pretty good. Not too far up. It's fantastic. Fantastic seating. No donation. Love them. Love my seats. Love them. I'm not gonna lie. I've enjoyed the 4 years, or well, I didn't go during COVID. I know some of y'all did, but the past 2 years, I've been able to sit in the crunch zone with a lot of my buddies, and that has been fun. But as we all know, the hype is real and it's understandable, and that stadium's going to be rocking. We're going to see the stadium like we haven't seen it in a very long time. Very long time.
KP asked how much they were. IU tickets. I paid $85 for my ticket, and then somebody else's is $85 each, I should say. And that was in the 12th row, and it's in the corner, probably on the 5-yard line. Connor, I didn't mean to interrupt you. What were you saying?
Didn't somebody say that like season tickets are like 67% right now? Like 67% of the stadium is season tickets.
And I got that verified this week. I got that verified this week. So with my dude in the ticket office. So 100% that is real. The hype is real. The buzz is real. Louisville is ready. Our fan base is ready.
We are.
Thank you, Scott Satterfield, for making us really just thank you.
Thank you, John.
Cincinnati.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, Cincinnati.
Yes. Out, get rid of him, bring Jeff Brohm in.
Yeah. It's the energy's palpable, man. I did want to talk about an article that came out, or not an article, I'm sorry, a podcast, a national basketball podcast, the Field of 68. And I know we don't, basketball is what it is right now, but I found it very interesting because they had a couple of different segments where they really kind of touched on the Louisville basketball program. Jeff Goodman, who hosts the podcast, he actually released a transfer portal rankings earlier today, I believe it was. And if it wasn't earlier today, it was yesterday. But he rated us the second worst transfer portal school as far as how well we've done.
It was losing guys.
Yeah. And so we lost a bunch of guys. He feels like we didn't replace them with much. Obviously, we've only had one portal commitment. But the more interesting part to me was hearing those guys ask if Kenny Payne, or they were asked, do you think Kenny Payne will get a third season? And let's see, the answers were I wrote them down: 35%, 40%, 40%, and 25%. Those were the percent chances they thought Kenny Payne would get a third year. And the only reason I bring this up is because I think sometimes we get into this local bubble and we all seem to just think he's just going to be back no matter what. It just feels that way sometimes. Or at least when I say we think, I think we're afraid of that. Some of us are, if he has a bad year. Now, obviously, we hope he has a great year. We hope he kills it. We hope he makes a tournament. But national guys, to me, that they're not attached. They have no skin in the game as far as how good we do, which makes them a lot less biased. And I don't know if anybody else heard the segment or not. There's about 5 or 6 of them that are all national guys that get on this pod.
What was Mac on there?
Yeah.
What was his percentage?
I didn't write down whose percentage was who. Now when you say Mac,
he's Louisville's definitely going to fire you.
Wait, who are you asking? Who was on there?
Chris Mack works for
Chris
Jeff
Mack. No, not Chris Mack.
Chris Mack works for Jeff Goodman and does field a 68.
Well, he wasn't on there. He was not. Chris Mack was not on there. But it's just, I guess where I was going is they're not biased. There's no skin in the game. And they looked at it. They think we're going to suck next year.
Well,
That's the impression I got.
Think about it this way, right? Like, it doesn't take a basketball analyst or even someone who's even all that smart to think about it and be like, this coach won 4 games last year. Like, they're probably going to get fired after the season. Like, take everything else out of it. Like, he's a coach who just came off a 4-win season. Like, if he doesn't have, like, a great season, make the tournament, and, look like a vastly different team, I mean, it's not a stretch to say he's going to get fired. Like, I don't even think that, like, that's not a reach. Like, that's just using logic.
No, but what's funny is, like, if you get on like Twitter, social media and stuff, if you talk like these national guys, they all, which don't get me wrong, there's a few people that are replying to players. I saw somebody call a player B word a couple of weeks ago. L. Ellis when he left, and then yesterday somebody responded to a player. And I'm not a big fan of getting into it with the players and coaches. I'm a big fan of, or I'm more of a fan of, hey, you can be critical, just be critical related to the game and only the game, and don't make it personal, and don't interact directly with the team. Just be a fan. Just be a normal fan who cheers and who expresses their frustrations but does it in a healthy way. Long story short with that, though, even when you do that, even when you express, like, I don't know if we'll be any much better next year. I don't know if we can even make the turn. You get creamed on there. You get absolutely obliterated. So it's just funny to watch the national guys get on their little Field of 68 podcast today, and they sound just like one of those fans that's getting barbecued all the time. That's not that they're said they're not a real fan. Like, you're not a real fan if you worry about the guards. You're not a real fan if you don't think Coron Davis can come in and just light it up as a point guard. Like, you're not a real fan if you think we need any more. You're not a real fan if you think the transfer portal is key to success because we have high school guys. Like, I've seen all that. I've seen it said multiple times. And it was just funny watching these guys who they have no idea the perception that the local media and the local fan base has. Just completely sounded like one of us. Very, very much like looking at it cut and dry and just saying, I don't know, guys, this doesn't look good. I don't think he makes it back.
Well, I mean, I don't understand why there has to be this divide within the fan base. We've talked about it ad nauseum at this point. Like we all want Kenny to succeed. He's our guy. He's one of us. Like we want him to succeed. We've given him his flowers by getting the players that he's gotten thus far. But there can also be a reality that exists and does exist where we're worried that you haven't gotten any immediate impact transfer portal guys. Both of those can be true. You can do a good job at landing high school players, but also fail to address the immediate need of players from the portal. Like both of those statements can be true, and they are true. So it doesn't mean that we're all on different sides. It doesn't. I don't know why that divisiveness has been driven into the fan base, but people need to get out of that. People need to get out of that. It's not what needs to happen. We're all on the same team, and all of us want KP to be successful. All of us do. Anybody that's been outspoken about, hey, I see this, I would like to see this addressed. Like it's not anybody wanting to be right or everybody wants to be wrong. They want to be proven wrong, but we're seeing a repeated pattern, and that's what is worrisome. It's a repeated pattern from last year. And we have Sky Clark's comments going at fans on Twitter over the past 2 days now, and it's clearly obvious that the staff it seems as though that they feel pretty good about where they stand in the backcourt. So I mean, they're making their own bed.
What I don't get is, like, how can you say that you don't need guards when you have one guy that's a quote unquote prototypical guard?
Well, the argument is that these other guys can just be guards, and I mean, you either believe that or you don't. But to piggyback on Ross's point of not being so divisive, I think here's the main issue. There's two main groups of fans right now. Obviously, the main group of fans, we all support Louisville. There are people who have faith that this is just going to work out and that last year was an anomaly. That's fine. That's fine. I think the other side needs to just let that be. Like, if you don't agree with that, let it be. Don't try to convince them, well, you're full of crap, this and that. I personally am I would say I'm on the other side of that. I'm very skeptical, but I'm not going to come at people for just being like, I have faith that last year was an anomaly and then we're going to turn it around. But then on the other side, that same group of people that I'm referring to, if you're critical and you say, man, I really think we need some more guards and I really don't want to repeat what we did last year, and I don't think the roster is constructed in a way where where the pieces connect, it seems like a lot of square pegs and round holes. Well, you have to be able to, as a fan, say, like guys like me were afraid of this when he was hired, and I at least understood the criticism then because he still hadn't coached a game. But if you're on that other side, the optimist, you've got to understand we now have evidence of it. Like we saw last year, and you can't just discredit that either. Now, you don't want to harp on it. You don't want to bring up 4 and 28 every time something happens in the present, but you also don't forget. Like you don't forget, and you also want to see major changes as far as the way the roster is constructed and transparency. And I can tell you right now, there is no transparency. Which if we were rolling and we came off of a really good season or at least a promising season, a rebuild, and we were rolling dudes in here, we wouldn't care. But
even if we won like 16 games last year.
Yeah, as a leader, I mean, in leadership positions, anytime the shit starts to hit the fan, you have to get up there and you have to explain what you're going to do to fix it. You have to explain, you have to calm people down. You have to convince them why they need to stick to it and stick with you, and reassure them that their position, whether it's within a company or on a team or as a fan, you need to convince people like, hey, yeah, it's rough right now, but here's the plan and here's why it is going to get better. And I mean, the last we heard from Kenny Payne, he said he had the best staff in the country after another loss, and we haven't heard anything since.
And I think it's weird that he hasn't, like, We haven't heard a thing from him.
Nothing. And it's not like he has to give a big old dissertation and a monologue about every little thing he's doing. But I mean, it would behoove him to explain why last year was the anomaly. So that's where I stand. But the bottom line is, to get back to Ross's point, is, you can have faith that things are going to get better, and you can also be skeptical until you see it otherwise. And there's no reason why, despite the disagreement between the way those two sides feel, there's no reason why they can't coexist. I mean, they do in our Discord. There's still people in there that are very positive, and we all get along fine. And I don't understand why online. I think online people just feel like, well, I can say things to this person and belittle them because I can't do anything about it. And I'm safe behind the confines of my four walls, and I can just fire off at people. But that's just not a good way to live, man. It's just not a good way to live.
Like yesterday when they started like pulling this dude's LinkedIn and was like, well, you couldn't hold a job for longer than 8 months, and had all that stuff on there.
Doc says, according to Rutherford, which I don't know, I'm just reading what he's saying. I didn't hear it, but according to Rutherford, Nolan went to a lunch with some media a couple of weeks ago. That's where the Lewis and Mbako commitment comments came from last week. I wouldn't be surprised. Like I said, I don't know the validity of that. I usually listen to Rutherford, but I listen to bits of his show. I don't get to hear it all. I did not hear that, so I cannot confirm that. I don't know if anybody else can, but it would not surprise me.
He did say that he did say that he had heard that had happened. He acknowledged it. He also acknowledged today too that since we were talking about transparency, he said today, he's like, I don't think we've heard from Kenny Payne since the Boston College loss.
No, that's
what I was saying. Like, we haven't heard from him.
Yeah, like that's the last time we heard about it. That's the last time we heard from him. That's crazy. That's crazy. But when was that game?
But Doc, that doesn't surprise me if what Rutherford heard is true, because Nolan. It's obvious there's a group of people that thought we were going to land in Baco. It's obvious some of the national media took off on that. Then all of a sudden you see like Trilly Donovan on Twitter saying like, I'm not trusting anybody from Louisville anymore. I'm not reporting on them anymore. You see some other guys referring to a rat, and I know they're close with Mbako. I don't know if that was about Nolan or not, but we all know what happened last offseason where Nolan convinced a bunch of people we were going to land Tyrese Hunter and Derek Whitehead and Caleb Foster and all these dudes. And somebody wrote Nolan went to lunch with Fred Cowgill and Bob Dominy. Well, I hope Fred Cowgill wasn't standing on the side, because he'll probably be filing a lawsuit. But
Dang.
But anyway, no, seriously though, it wouldn't surprise me if Nolan is still telling people that we're going to land all these dudes.
I'm convinced that Nolan and Kenny don't talk to each other.
It seems like that.
I mean, wouldn't surprise me.
I think they probably do, but it does appear sometimes that the staff is recruiting against each other. And you know why that is? It's probably not true. But you know why it seems that way? Because we hear nothing. We hear absolutely nothing.
We don't get anything.
Like, we didn't even know dude from Miami was visiting. We didn't even know he was visiting. And then all of a sudden, like, we're thinking, like, are we going to hear anything on Mbako? What about RJ Lewis? What about
and then we get a commitment from South Beach Coron.
And then all of a sudden, this dude from Miami, I can't even pronounce it.
JUCO Jordan?
South Beach Coron.
Danilo?
Yes.
Yeah. And he actually doesn't, after watching a video after watching that guy's Twitter feed where he breaks down, I think it's U of L recruiting, he breaks down all the guys and individual play-by-plays. Danilo he doesn't look like a bad player, but I don't think he's what we need at all right now. I don't think he's instant impact. I also think we need instant impact. But it just goes to show you, like, when you don't talk and all of a sudden, like, we're hearing rumors that these Duke guys are going to decommit, or that Mbako is going to commit, and maybe Caleb Foster. All of a sudden, this dude, who's in the same position as Mbako, by the way, all of a sudden he recruits out of left, or he commits out of left field. It does appear, which I don't think is true, but it appears that they're recruiting against each other because they don't talk. And then you know
G's
how
doing
like
sound
Brohm, like
cycles.
you get Brady Brohm tweeting like, got another commitment coming. He's got like a storm, and it's Storm Duck, and all of a sudden it's like, go Carr. All these guys are like
the
pumped.
the Marcus Smart gif on Monday for Marcus Washington.
Right. And so like, and then all these other coaches that are like, we just got better today, and all these great positive motivational things. I looked at all the staff's Twitter after Danilo committed. Nothing.
No.
Not a thing.
Jameson probably didn't know he committed.
He's supposedly the one that was recruiting him.
We landed on the moon?
Yeah.
Great.
Oh,
Yeah.
We landed. Who?
My feeling is they had one coaches meeting where they were like, hey, we need a small forward. And then they have not talked since then. And they're like, I'm doing great. I don't know what you guys, I just got another one.
Hey, they're going to all meet up for the first time in August and be like, where the hell are all these small forwards come from? I only recruited 2 of them.
Who had guard on their sheet?
Who the hell brought this guy in?
Yeah.
Who the hell's Sky Clark? Sky Clark's not a forward. He's 6'2".
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Look, I'm in agreement, Kyle. I do think Danilo has some game. Okay, I do. I think he could be a good player. At this point, he looks like he'd be a very good roster player, a good role player on a team to come off a bench. Okay,
Yeah.
but it goes back to what you said. It's like what we've been saying. Like we didn't address it, except for like Sky Clark. Okay, Sky Clark's gonna be an instant impact guy. He has limited college experience, but we expect him to be a guy that can take on that instant impact. Except for him, it's like who else have you brought in that is going to be the immediate help to fill the void that L. Ellis has left? Who's going to do that? I mean.
I'm sorry. I'm reading these comments. Chester says, I wonder how scared the DePaul coach was in Africa since him and KP were the only 2 there. When all the dust settled in the dirt court. And KP is sitting there beside him wearing a Louisville logo like no one refer. I'm probably not very scared, to be honest.
I'm just gonna say, I think I have a good idea who KP's wiener is here in this chat. I think this is my buddy John.
I think you're probably right, even though I don't know him.
I think this is a mortal card from the Discord. I think that's who that is, but I could be wrong. But
that was my guess. Either him or Connor's buddy. What's his name?
Yeah.
Nose Ty Elliott.
Oh.
Yeah, one of those 2. All right. Let's see.
That's a good point right there by Coach House.
Couch House says, please tell me why he went to Africa to tell the kid that we don't want you.
I know.
They fly over and tell him. I don't know, man. And it doesn't. Actually, it shows the ambition that he went over there, but it's like if you're not sure you're going to get this guy, you don't do it in the heart of portal season, like in the very crux of it, when all these studs are just starting to enter, and then you can also, everybody tampers, so you can also still be reaching out to dudes and trying to convince them to get in the portal, but you're over there. You're all the way over there when other guys are doing in-home visits or doing Zoom meetings, which you can do Zoom meetings, but a lot of scheduled visits happen during that time period. It's like if you're not sure you're going to land a guy in Africa, that's not the time to figure out.
Then why are you going?
Hey,
KP went over to Africa and said, I don't want you for Louisville basketball.
Hey, if I'm an assistant coach right now, I'm going to Africa to just get a vacation out of it, right? Like, you're not going to have the job much longer. So it's like,
oh, shit.
Africa, right? Like,
oh, man.
And
Hey,
it
Kenny
all
left.
goes back. It all goes back to like nobody talks. So all of a sudden, Kenny Payne's in Africa in the middle of portal season, and all of a sudden, no one's recruiting guys, and we land a guy who Josh Jameson apparently recruited, and nobody even knew who he was until he committed, and the fans. There was no L's up or go Cards. We got better today, and then there was no follow-up tweets after he committed. It's just like he's here, and
I'd take Ross McMains and his cardboard table over Josh Jameson.
Today we're gonna put this new addition on our house. It's a cardboard box.
And his
man.
and his metronome offense.
Yeah, bop, 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 bop.
remember when everybody? I was never a big fan of when Ross McMains was hired that offseason. Everybody was like, Ross McMains is going to bring this innovative offense to. I was like, to a Chris Mack team. I was like, even if it is innovative, I have a really hard time believing Chris Mack would even know how to roll it out there.
We should have known the first sign. His name was Ross, so it just was going to be bad news.
Ty says Perez went with him. It probably cost a healthy penny since I bet it did.
You're damn right there.
And then, of course, the next comment is Perez on staff? Well, we were led to believe that was going to really help us out and that was the start of something great. And
him and Josh Jameson.
Now listen, high school recruiting has been phenomenal. And I was talking to Rummage about that tonight. We were talking back and forth on Twitter because Steve Rummage was basically saying, way to like talking about the Jeff Goodman second worst portal class right now as it stands. He said, this doesn't acknowledge the high school class at all, and he's right. But the thing is, I mean, it was titled, portal classes, so it's like he wasn't addressed. I'm sure Goodman would probably rank our high school class pretty high. But me and Rummage were talking about it. I just made a comment. I said, I get what you're saying, man. And he's done great, phenomenal in the high school ranks. But
yeah,
like a 75-25 thing where you want 75% of your players to be instant impact out of the portal or guys that have been developed through your program. And then your other 25% can be cherry-picked freshmen. That's just my opinion. You guys can disagree or interject as you will. But he even said, like, well, I'm with you there, man, but I just feel like we need to acknowledge. And, yeah, Kenny Payne does need to be acknowledged for what he's done in the high school ranks. And if he lands in Baco, I think that's even another level of a high school player that could be instant impact. But, man, you got to land dudes in the portal, man. I mean, in 2023 – John Calipari wasn't even good at the John Calipari way when it was a thing, except when he had Anthony Davis, which was a generational talent. But we can't expect Kenny Payne, who we don't know if he's even as good as a coach as John Calipari, to be honest. We can't expect him to implement that now, like as a strategy, like a bunch of high school dudes. Like we need more experience, and we need guys that complement each other. So you can praise his high school recruiting and you can criticize his portal recruiting, and it's fair game.
Yep. 100%. And listen, the portal has changed the game, but the narrative really hasn't changed for a new coach. Okay. Mm-hmm. Before the portal, after the portal. Okay. When you're coming in, all right, you're coming in behind a coach that was generally fired or left. Okay. Most of the time it's the coach was fired, okay, or, was asked to leave. And so that means things haven't been going well. And what a lot of coaches have always done, they will go and recruit transfers, then they would sit out a year, or you would go recruit JUCO guys that were stopgaps that could be immediate impact guys to try to get you to get the foundation on a level field. And then you would go and recruit your high school guys that would bring in, that would be the culture and would be the guys that you would grow the foundation upon. Like really that should stay the same. That the portal just makes it even easier to do that now. Mm-hmm. It makes it even easier, and it hasn't happened. It has not happened. So it's okay. I understand what Kenny's doing. Like he wants to to build the U of L brand back up to where it needs to be. And that is good. But in the meantime, you've got to have these stopgaps to continue your success on a short-term trajectory. You can't just think all about the long-term trajectory of the program. You got to win now. You have to win now. And
if you don't win now, you're not going to be here for the long term.
How
Absolutely.
do we feel? How do we feel if we get Trey White and Mbako? I think we need to give up the idea that we're going to land some natural point guard. I know that's what we love, like a Minifield. We're not going to get somebody like that. Not even going to get a Davion McKnight. Well, we're not going to go there. We've all talked about that ad nauseum. But how do we feel? How do we feel if we get Trey White and Mbako with what we have? And that's the best case scenario I see, to be honest.
I have a bad feeling we're not getting Trey White. So
I probably not. I'm just saying, best case scenario, we land Trey White and we land Mbako. I think. I mean, somebody else might disagree and say, well, maybe RJ, whatever. I'm going to say Trey White is our best option as a air quote guard. And
you know who we should look at that's in the portal right now that averaged 17 points a game in the MAC and won MAC Player of the Year? Ray J. Dennis.
Yeah.
No, we haven't heard his name. So anyway,
and we're probably not going to.
So okay,
we're
so
not
hypothetically,
under 6'5".
Mbako and Trey White, those are your dudes, and you go out there with Flowers and Sky Clark and all those guys and JJ and all. I'm not gonna go through the whole roster. You know them. What do you guys think of that roster? What are we looking at here?
You better hope Sky Clark doesn't get injured, is all I got to say, right? You're one injury away from starting Hersey Miller at point guard in the ACC. No disrespect to Hersey Miller, but, dude, I mean, you cannot start Hersey Miller in the ACC. You just can't.
10 and 22, maybe?
10 and 22? I mean,
maybe.
And
I think that's 10 and 22 if you get Mbako. If you don't,
right.
Well, that's what we're saying. I'm saying if you get Trey White and Mbako, and then you roll out the rest of these guys that are here, what are we looking at?
I think it's more likely. I don't know. We'll see. I think there is something to the rumors about RJ Louise and Mbako coming. So I would much rather have Trey White just because he has a higher ceiling than the other. But I will say RJ Louise is, I feel like, a good fit for our roster the way it is right now. So
he's another
I would
wing,
take
though.
But he's more of a 2 than he is a 3. I mean, he has some ball handling.
The idea that we're going to get. I've given up on the idea we're going to get some stud point guard or even 2 guard. I mean, we're clearly going to get a 6'7", 6'8", if we get anybody. I mean, because who do we get if Trey White and Louis, which they are not, I don't care what anybody's telling you guys. They are not sure things, or this would be done.
Kenny's recruiting again.
Yeah.
And they've been visiting other places since they left. But I just don't see us getting much better than one of those two. So,
I don't know. I feel pretty confident. It seems to me, not to speak over you guys, I'm sorry, but it just seems to me, out of all of those 3 players we've named, I feel like Mbako is going to happen. I really do. I like everybody, and it's hard to judge with this staff because we don't get much. I don't really feel like people really, really know. And based on in the past what we have to show in 15, 18 months time or whatever, to show even when the staff is confident, it doesn't mean a whole lot, but it does seem like the vibes are very good with Mbako. So I think it's good that we're going to get the last visit. I really do wish that he was visiting this weekend for Derby. I wish that was the case because I think it would be done, done. But I think that they're going to do. I have faith in KP and this staff. They're going to handle their business. They're going to lay out everything that they need to do, and they are going to land Mbako's commitment. And this is going to be over in the beginning of May, the second week of May. And we're going to be very happy. We're going to be, Not not next week, but the pod after that, I think we're going to be very happy, and we're going to be praising. We're going to be giving the staff a lot of we're going to be commending them. So that's just how I feel, and I think I just wish that you talked about it many times, Kyle. I wish that the staff saw that they needed to win first now, like the football staff has. Win now. Yeah. And we just, it just seems to be so geared towards long-term getting caught up on that word again, trajectory.
There you go, buddy.
The people in the comments.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're going to try a long term, which I in the portal era, I don't think it's a great idea to even try like, hey, we're going to take 3 or 4 years to rebuild. But if you're going to do it, you have got to communicate with this fan base and at least give us an idea of what to expect.
Yeah.
And then you do get a divisive fan base when there's just nothing, because you're going to have your diehards who they think you're a bad fan if you just don't support what the coaches are doing. But see, if you've been in a leadership position or even if you've worked for like good leaders and bad leaders, if your people that are your support system, where it's your consumers are the fans. So basically, if you're a consumer and you feel like the leadership and whatever product you're looking at or you're engaged with, if you feel like that the supervisors are not communicating at all, you're not going to purchase that product. You're not going to stand by that product. And if you've been a loyal customer, you may give it a little bit of time, but you'll eventually go somewhere else. And with fans, we probably won't go somewhere else because it's different with fanhood, but it's very hard to support a program for a lot of people when you feel like the leadership is lost in the sauce and then they don't seem to care about you. And I mean, the impression I just get is they don't care what the fans think at all, either way. And even the people that blindly support them, I'm not sure that their support is returned with anything at all. I mean, kudos to them for having that much faith, but that doesn't work for somebody like me. I need to know what's going. Like, I need to know that I can trust the people that are running at something, no matter what type of field this is in. And the same thing goes for the team I support. Like, I need to know you have a plan, and I can't just trust that you have a plan after going 4-28. I can't just sit there and say, well, I'm sure they've got it all figured out this time. Like, that just doesn't work for me.
Well, I mean, you're right. Like, in a leadership position, you've got to be transparent. Like, when things are bad, like on Wall Street, when you have some negative news that can affect your shareholders, money, like, you need somebody to come out and handle, be like you handle the PR, I mean, it's business 101. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, it has to happen. We didn't have a great season. We had our worst season in program history. Like, come out and tell the fans what you're doing to fix it.
Yeah, that's all. I mean, and just a little bit, man. Give us just a little bit, man. So, yeah. Josh, you have any final thoughts about any of this? But we're going to start wrapping up. But I know you've been kind of quiet over there.
Yeah,
no, I blab our heads off.
I've just been zoning out with just looking at Ross. No,
why? You poor bastard.
He gets lost in your eyes, Ross.
Mesmerized.
No, I mean,
it's the glorious gray. It's the gray beard.
A touch of gray. Yeah, no, just jealous of your beard. This is like 6 months worth of work right here. No, I think we've hit on a lot of the points. It's like you feel so disconnected from the staff, and then you feel like you get, I think one thing we've talked about a lot in the Discord is like, we know a decent amount of insiders, or like we read the boards, like we hear from a decent amount of insiders, but even they are not getting good info. So you can't even really rely on what they're saying. It's not like they're not hearing those things. It's just what they're hearing is dog shit, right? Like it's just bogus information. So like,
great way to put it there, buddy.
I didn't know you could hear dog shit. But...
Yeah. I mean, I think
scratch that one off my bingo card.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so I mean, I think it's just hard right now because, again, and we've talked about this on a couple of different shows. I mean, really throughout the whole first season here is like, we need something to be excited about. And there's not much to reach. And now I will say, Ross, that you made a good point that we are bringing in a lot of talent on the high school side. But again, like the roster is who constructed this? Like who is like, hey, we're going to have an NBA roster with nobody under 6'7", and we're going to have 9 small forwards. Like, I don't know.
I hope somebody plays like LeBron and can play 1 through 5.
Yeah. I mean, I have a hard time, like I feel like I'm rehashing the same thing over and over. Like it's Groundhog's Day. Like tomorrow we're going to hear about another small forward committing. Like I don't know. I'm really stuck at this point.
One that we've never heard of.
You're right. Or Josh James never heard of.
Could you imagine, like, what would you do if he, like, okay, we have like 2, do we have 2 scholarships left or 3?
2.
We have 2. So what have you heard of, like, this week you hear of another guy, like a guy that was like at VCU on the bench.
Or a beast from a foreign land.
And then all of a sudden, and he's a wing, and then all of a sudden we get another wing that's like 6'9", and he is a 3rd string player out of California, but he's got a lot of potential, and he's diamond in the rough. And you think we're done, and all of a sudden we just start adding commits every week, and now we're up to like 22, 23 players on the roster, and it's because none of the coaches talk to each other, so they don't know the other ones have even landed anybody. So then there's like a mutiny, and then all of a sudden at the end of the year we got like 25 guys. You got to pick which wings you want.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you, if we land another guy that fits that mold, that isn't the 3 players that we were kind of talking about earlier, it's going to tell me that we're not getting Mbako. That's where my mind's going to go, and until they prove me wrong, I mean, that's where my mind would go, and I mean, that's where we're going to be at. So I mean, we don't get anything from the staff, so I mean, we don't know.
You mean you don't like South Beach Coron?
I was a bit nervous when we took the Miami kid that was the Mbako spot
replacement. Yeah.
Who knows?
This staff, though, I mean, it could not be, right? They could take 2 more forwards.
That's what I'm saying. We take 2 more 6'8" guys, and
wait till we.
That's 2 more point guards than we have now.
Wait till we take like a 6'9" forward and then take like a 7'3" center.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
it's getting
I don't
kind of
know.
late.
I mean, listen. I don't like to just crap on programs, and I know that's not what we do. That's not what we're about. We're all diehard U of L fans here. We're
frustrated.
Like I said, yeah, we're right. Like I do think in 2 pods from now, we're going to be giving the staff a lot of props for landing Mbako. That's just my personal opinion. I don't see anything that seems to have changed coming out of any of these visits that he's taken. I'm not really worried about IU, just to be honest. I'm not. Maybe you can speak on that more, Kyle, as that visit develops. But Kansas is the one I'm worried about. They get like 18,000 level 1 violations, and then they come out and have like strippers on poles and Snoop Dogg shooting money guns, and I mean, they just middle fingers to the world. I mean, they don't care. I mean, they're gonna do whatever to get a player they want. So that's who I'm worried about. If he doesn't come out of that visit with a committed, I feel okay. I mean,
they posted pictures yesterday.
Yeah, he's already left.
Yeah,
Kansas.
so.
Here's what I'll say about IU. IU's staff has put in a lot of work behind the scenes for Mbako. How much work has our staff put in? Obviously, we had a very strong pre-existing relationship. How much work have they put in? Well, we wouldn't know. It's not like we know anything going on. So we better hope we put in more work than IU, because here I don't know if he'll go to IU, but they have a very, very good staff, a very good recruiting staff. We've tried to land two of their assistant coaches in the last 2 years, and we couldn't get one under Mac, and then the next year under KP, we tried to get Yasser Roseman, and then we tried to get what's his name? Was it Hunter? Keon Hunter or whatever? Kenya Hunter. They're both
former Bill Self protege.
Kenya Hunter and Yasser Roseman are both very good assistants, very good recruiters, and apparently they've been putting in a lot of work. And this has been in the works for a while to set up a visit. So I won't discount him. I'm not saying he'll go. I don't know where he'll go, because I don't know, guys. But nonetheless, I think this time at the end of next week, we're supposed to have a visit from Mbako, according to Ty and Rivals. I think they're the ones that broke that. If it wasn't them, correct me if I'm wrong, but I know I saw it from Ty. Travis and Ty and
Rivals.
They broke that. So props to them. I want to give them their credit. But it sounds like he's going to visit at the end of next week. We'll know more then. With that being said, I think I'm going to wrap this up. What do you guys? I'll go around. You guys have any last words before we call tonight?
I would be remiss. I'm going to put the teaser out there. Listen. This is a layup. Okay, this is a layup. Y'all will want to be here next week. We've got something special for y'all. We're going to have our first guest on, and so I think you will want to be here. Anybody that's excited about football, if you're a gambler, you're going to want to be here. So tune in next week. We're going to have our first guest, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. So just tease it with that.
Josh?
Well, I hope Ross is right, and we make some good momentum with Mbako, and just in a few short pods here, we're starting to make some progress on the basketball side. I love talking about football. I personally grew up loving the basketball team. That's what made me a Louisville fan growing up. And I just hope we can get back to talking about basketball in the same light that we're talking about football.
Connor, what you got?
Derbies this weekend. Who's got derby picks? Hit me up.
I don't know.
Let's make some money this weekend, boys.
My final words are, Ross, I hope you're not like Nolan. I hope you're not selling us something he can't back up. Don't be hyping up the fan base. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, y'all saw it.
I saw it. Yeah, we are expected to have a special guest, and I'll leave it at that as well. And Ross put in the work for that, so props to Ross. And we'll have more for you guys as that date approaches. All right.
We appreciate y'all tuning in and listening to we're all, like I said, we're all the same fan base. We're all Cards fans. We all want to be winning and see us achieve those great things that we know our program and our school and our city can do. So I will get off here for my guy Anthony Chesney. Go Cards, go Kroger.
All right, and feel free to like and subscribe if you liked what the content you heard tonight. If you've been on here several times, I appreciate the fact that you already have liked and subscribed. We're starting to grow more as a channel, so little by little we'll get there, but we just appreciate you guys listening to us tonight. With that being said, I'm going to end it with a Go Cards. See y'all next time.
Go Cards.
Thanks, y'all. Go Cards. Go Kroger.